have just been tuned into the Streets Session with your boy Firahs and
Joe MK.
Listen, I'm here right now. The story so far, and I'm here basically with one of the biggest legends, the main man of the industry.
I don't know about that.
I mean, if you got music that you need to put out, if you need to be looking for any kind of publishing and that kind of thing, I'm right here with Paul Kennedy.
Hey.
I love that. You know, I didn't even give him a question. I literally just said Paul Kennedy. But no, on a serious note, Paul Kennedy, like events like this, you know, when it comes to like teaching other people about the industry, and you know, for somebody like you who, you know, time is very precious. How does it feel for you to be at an event like this?
You know, I'm all about supporting the next generation. I'm getting old, right? I'm on my way to 60. A couple of years and I'll be there.
Yeah.
So it's all about bringing the next generation through, and whatever you can pass on to help someone else. Less of a struggle. I certainly had a struggle, as you probably heard. I'm all up for it because, you know, the business has been a minefield of lawyers and majors controlling a monopoly that no one really understood. And the reality is, in the last 10 years, the curtain's been pulled back. And, you know, you can now get amongst it and get busy and find out really what's going on. So, yeah. You know, I also published Taz, who runs this event. So when he asked me to come on it, I couldn't really say no, could I?
Do you know what? One thing that really like resonated with me was the whole fake it to make it thing. Obviously, as a journalist, also a radio presenter, DJ, I meet a lot of people, right? And I meet a lot of people who either come across like they're really rich or come across like really themselves, and you know, you kind of just never really know what's the truth and what's not. As somebody like yourself who's been in the industry for a very long period of time, when it comes working with artists, how important is the image, and then how important is the truth of that image?
You know, as I said, the fake it to make it thing, I'm not with it, man. You know, an artist's image is a big part of it, right? You've got to know what you're doing. But product is all about, for me, it's all about the music. So I believe there's a million. I've got a friend in here who's an influencer, right? She can fake it till she makes it all day long. Because you can do it in that world.
The YouTube world and that. Instagram.
You know, you can be up there like you're the biggest makeup artist in the world or whatever you're doing, fashion. But in music, you know, you can wear the fake chains and the tin and make out it's platinum and all that. But then you drop a whack record, no one cares. So what are you faking? You know what I mean? I just think, you know, great music rises to the top. It might not go all the way without a push in a crowded market, but, you know, knowing yourself, knowing what you're doing and how you're going to get there is probably the most vital part of your plan, right? Your 2-3 year plan. And everyone I've always took on, a lot of people sign for a year. I don't do 1 year deals because I know how long it takes to do the development. So a lot of people question a 3 year deal with me. And I'll be like, leave then, I don't care, because I'm not going to do a year and then get dropped after I've only just really started getting my momentum. You know, it's a long process, and I just saw a rapper without any names came and saw me, had some good product, you know, and I asked him where he wanted to be in 5 years. He said, I'm only retired. That was it for me. He doesn't want to be an artist. He wants to use it to earn money.
So I've only got two things before obviously I let you go. Obviously, you know, everyone's got things to do. The one thing I want to ask is, the reason why I brought this up is because, especially within hip-hop, within rap, as a black man myself, I always hear the excuse of the reason why black people fake it till they make it is because they get a little bit of money and then they kind of like splash it all, right?
It's a cultural thing in black music for sure. It goes back to the 90s, Puff Daddy, and you know, everyone doing it, right?
Is that the problem?
Well, it's a culture of floss, right? And you know, I know I've got a black miss, I've got 3 black kids, right? Yeah. It's an image of floss. We all want to look good. We all want to look good when we're running it. And yeah, you can dress something up, but at the end of the day, as I said before, you can dress it up all you like, but you know, Jay-Z wouldn't be Jay-Z without hits, would he?
Yeah, of course. But would you blame that on like the lack of understanding within business? Because you see, one thing I always understand, if I look at like my Asian friends or even just my white friends, right? Asian business, they'll have a business from 20 years ago. White people, houses from the 60s, everybody owns it. But within like the black community, it's almost like, okay, cool, if I make my money, nobody else makes the money within the family, right? Is that like the problem? Do you feel like, obviously I can't tell you about the black culture and what you think black people should be doing, but that's something that you hear all the time. And for me, for a black person,
I know I've managed a lot of big black acts over the years, right? And I haven't been with a black woman since I was 17, so there you go. So, you know, there's always a race to go and buy a new car when they get in advance, right? And is that because, like me, they came from a council estate, and for once in their life they got a bit of money in their pocket and they want to floss? There's nothing wrong with that. No. Should they be wiser? Taz should have bought a house.
100%.
You know, so it's a bit of both. It's a bit of our own braggadocious or whatever you want to call it. It's definitely within the culture of the music to floss, because half the lyrics are about it. My bitch, my car, my chain, you know, come on, you know. So, you know, with the music, I've just signed a brand new rapper, SPOMG. We've done 2 records with him. Just did Ride. We started with Ride, just did the follow-up. God, I forgot the title already, it's terrible. And, you know, he can do a certain amount of it because he's got a platform to do it. Right. But I'm like, give it, you know, he's got this real raw tone in his voice, right? When I heard him, I was listening to fucking Mobb Deep. You know, and that's where I live hip-hop wise. That's, you know, I'm an East Coast, I love that shit, right?
Okay,
So, that's why I signed him, right? Now he's got to deliver the hit. You know. Are we going to dress it up and floss it up and all the rest of it? Yeah, I mean, you know, a certain amount of that will come with what the record is. What, you know, sometimes the content of a record, if you're singing about love, you know, the narrative for the video is probably not going to be gangsters running around the street, right? No. If you're doing a gangster rap record, the likelihood the narrative for the record, Mobb Deep, 2 to the chest, break your nose with, you know, it kind of goes with it, you know.
And then lastly for me, what I want to ask you as well, so for all the artists out there in the world, obviously in a social media era, you know, people are always like, especially when it comes to big labels nowadays, they're signing social media stars. It's not really based on talent anymore. It's based on who you follow and what they can get out of. So what would be your advice then to other up-and-coming artists who may not have that kind of like social media push if they want to get in the industry?
Make hits. As simple as that. You know, the other guy from America was talking about your digital platform. It's a level playing field, right? If you don't know about playlisting at Spotify and Apple and all that stuff, you're going to need to find that. So you can find that in a distributor. Of course. You know, you can go CD Baby, Amazon, and, you know, all these stupid ones. I would look a little bit, look for label services as opposed to just an aggregator. Anybody can take your music and put it on Spotify and Apple. There's a million people. I really believe in the artistic side of it, right? So I tend to focus on repertoire and go to war when my gun is loaded, when I feel my gun is loaded. And, you know, quite often I'll sign an act and I put it on social media and the phone will ring like mad. because the majors want to know what I've just signed. You know, based on history and track record. But I might not present our artists to labels for another year because I want to know it. Like you get up in the morning and you have a pee and you're like, yeah, you know, you've got this idea, right? I want to know that when I go in the door, I'm going to have such a level of arrogance about my product that, like with Chris Shane, who had no social media, complete other example, signed $1 million deal with Atlantic Records UK, one of the biggest deals done by Warners in the last 10 years, and he had 100 likes on Facebook. No Twitter, no YouTube, nothing. But we have repertoire.
You know what? I did say last thing, but before I let you go, I feel like the interesting thing that you brought up was to do with not just leverage, but like in terms of putting things out and like having a team, right? Now, when it comes to a team, you really never really know the intention of that team, especially with managers. For someone like yourself, contracts, very important. People don't understand contract, and a lot of things that I heard through pretty much the whole panelists today was understand the contract, understand the business. How important is it for an artist themselves to really know what they're signing?
Yeah, it's really important, but in the early days they don't, because it's the nature of development of an artist's career. People forget in this country, we're all trying to get major deals. I'm going to do a little competition. Name 3 American big artists that you love now. Quick.
Drake, Tiger, Chris Brown.
Okay, so Chris Brown was signed to a major, all the others aren't. They're signed to production companies that then upstream them to a major.
I mean, Drake is on Young Money.
Exactly.
Tiger was formerly Young
Exactly.
Money.
Right, so, and that has been the way since Motown. And that's a historic thing, right? So back in the day, the majors ran it. People like me come out of the army, we haven't got a clue what we do, so we start doing it ourselves. They pay attention because we're doing something they're not doing. That's how I got my label deal, right? I don't have it anymore, but that's how I got it. For Shola.
What, Shola Amal?
Yeah.
We interviewed her just last, like, recently,
So Shola was signed to me. She was on my production company, on my label. I exec produced a big album, the only one that sold millions. You know, I think the artist experience grows, right? Don't get me wrong. If you're going to go into a heavy recording or publishing contract, you're going to need a lawyer.
Okay, cool.
But if you're a member of the Musicians Union, which is 50 quid to join, you can get 4 hours free legal advice from some of the top music industry lawyers in the world.
Right. Of course.
You know, I've just signed 2 Italian guys. 6 months ago, I've developed, just got them a deal 2 weeks ago in Europe, Tomorrowland, the biggest dance festival in the world, their label. And, you know, I signed them for next to nothing. Their lawyer rang me up and said, why are we doing this? And I said, because I'm going to upstream it. And at first, he was like, it doesn't make sense. But when he understood what we're going to do, what value we're going to add, and the deal that I'm going to get on masters that I own, you know, a major don't give me 20 points. They give an artist 20 points. They give me 35. So even if I take 25%, the artist is still better off. And I'm going to control their expenditure, not the major, which means I'm going to spend a third of what the major will do in the same job, and the artist is going to earn royalties quicker. So who's better off?
Listen, I want to say big shout out to Paul Kennedy, you know, coming here. He's been dropping gems. Been dropping gems for years, actually, to be fair. Listen, this guy's a living legend.
No.
If you're an artist,
Artists are legends. I'll just fix their shit.
He just fixes the shit, but you know what? He makes you the shit. So regardless, Paul Kennedy, thank you very much. You know, again.
What's the station?
War FM.
Big up War FM.
Love that,
Play
man.
my artist. Chris A new single One Time out now. SPOMG Ride. Let's go get it.
Chee, let's go, man. Love. We're outside of the street. Being tuned into the streets session with your boy Firahs and
Joe MK.
Why is this the name of our show, bro?
Because we're the hottest in the streets. Catch us online, on the go, and on the FM.
Okay, let's go.